Okay, so that's the latest in terms of the political figureheads crisscrossing the country to popularize their bid. But according to Ruto, it's not early campaigns. He's a government officer and public participation is quite important. A lot has been featured in today's dailies. As I hinted, the front page of the Daily Nation going big with a political story inside Raila and Ruto's plot to block defectors, where losers in party primaries might be time-barred in one way or the other due to the certain election timelines that have been changed by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. On page 4 of the Daily Nation, they break it down. The deadline for primaries has been pushed to May 26th to allow parties to hold nominations long after the deadline for politicians intending to vie as independents to resign from parties. So in one or the other, defectors might be barred from running as independents if these particular timelines definitely go through. We'll get to discuss this and much more. Remember, we've just seen Raila Odinga was in Pokot and he was given his list of things to achieve once or if he gets to power. Ruto, shortly after chairing that particular IBER meeting, he crossed over and did a couple of campaigns in the region as well. We'll get to talk about that. Joining me in studio to help us deliberate on these matters and more, I'm joined by Professor Alfred Omenya right here, who's a governance expert. It's great to have you with us. Good morning.
Morning, Jesse. How are you today?
Very fine, thank you. Asante sana for your time. Equally joined by Waheshimiwa James Gakuya, MP, Embakasi North. It's great to have you. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Rogers.
Asante for your time. Robert Mbui equally joins us, Kathiani, Member of Parliament. Asante for your time. Karibu.
Asante.
Okay, Kathiani MP, maybe we start with you, Mbui. We're taking a look at that headline on the front page of the Daily Nation, and we well know how important these timelines are, especially for those who lose in party primaries. Do you think this is perhaps a good move for the party leaders? Because according to the papers, Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga, for them it's good news, especially in regions where party tickets usually have intense competition. That party ticket is as good as winning the election. Well, what say you about this?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, it's obviously a good thing for party leaders and for parties and for democracy because, you know, there's this disease that when people lose nominations, they always seek to defect and look for mandate elsewhere. And in other parties, sometimes even going independent. But, you know, the main problem that we have as a country is the manner in which our nomination process is carried out. Because a lot of parties don't have the ability to carry out credible nominations. So anytime nominations end, there's always people, the losers are also sour, and many times they claim that the process was not free and fair. And so that is why they seek mandate elsewhere. We need to strengthen the nomination process in all our parties so that when anyone loses the nomination in the party, even if you attempt to defect and go to another party, you probably still lose. That way, once people develop confidence, this problem will end. Otherwise, I think for parties it's a good thing. But of course, for candidates that lose, may not be a good thing if the process is not free and fair.
And it's proper you brought up credible nominations when it comes to party primaries, Mbui, because recently we had Raila Odinga speak in Kibra. He mentioned that ODM might go the consensus way. They might also prefer the delegates route as compared to the party primaries themselves. So when you're speaking about these contentious party primaries, what do you think of such a route when it comes to consensus? Is this an easier route to find a credible candidate?
Actually, in order to avoid the fallout, I think sometimes consensus does work. But, you know, it's not every time that it yields results because it's not everyone who's willing to accept that maybe in the best interest of their party, that maybe they don't need to stand and probably they could be given another slot. So I guess, in my opinion, those are the different avenues by which we can do this nomination process. Consensus, it can be you know, an actual election. And, you know, even also, I think our party constitutions allow us, some of our party constitutions allow us to carry out a survey and figure out who is the best candidate and approach them and give them a direct nomination. So it's a complex situation. Otherwise, if IEBC, and this is my opinion, if IEBC can get involved in the management of nomination processes in all our political parties, that means then they will strengthen these political parties to do credible nominations, and therefore their falling out will actually stop. And then even if you do these nominations just a week before the elections, it's okay and it's fair because people will not need to defect after the nominations.
Well noted. James Gakue, over to you. Being a member of the Jubilee Party, at least it sponsored you during the 2017 election, a lot has been said about the manner in which certain individuals in the party hierarchy managed the party nominations. It's even been said that they themselves decided who exactly would run despite there being party primaries. Well, what's your take when you take a look at such clamor ahead of party primaries? We've had the deputy president give a clean bill of health mentioning UDA will have fair party primaries when it comes to nominations.
Not just let me submit to the viewers, whatever they are watching us for. But coming to the matter on the table, I would say it's a very delicate process. And party primaries sometimes are very injurious. I've been a victim of the same process. In the last the nominations, which were held on 2017, I almost lost the seat when I won in the primaries. And I won with a very big margin. Imagine you have won with over and above 10,000 votes, but you have been cooked. And one with only 340 votes has been purported to be the winner. Not even the second, or not even the second person, a far distance that. So it's a very, very dangerous and tricky process. And when the party does not need you, and they don't want to tell you that you are not wanted, sometimes it becomes very difficult. And I think that probably that's a game that parties should mature from. Because right from the beginning, you don't require to pay your primaries fees if leader party is very sure that is not ready to issue you with the certificates once you win. And it's a very bad battle because surely it kills democracy, that democratic process. Probably, let me say, after maturity of this multipartyism, political parties need also to mature and give the members what we call free and fair nominations. And this has not been seen to be coming to terms very soon. I think methodologies for these processes should be left purely to the party, because even though you bring electoral commission in, it cannot be able to micromanage these parties. But parties should be very, very clear. If party knows very well from the beginning you are disliked in that particular political party, they better not receive your cash for that particular nomination fee. Because when your money is not taken, you know from the beginning that you look for alternative from that at a stage, but not to swindle you when you are all through in that process to the end. And then when you get to the end, then you receive no certificate. Like in my case, I won, I was declared the winner, I was declared the winner, and the result was being announced, but I was denied the certificate on the spot. And I was told the certificate is to be issued from the headquarters. A certificate I followed for 2-3 days without any access, only for me to realize that this is a game. And that is when I found a route to what we call political parties tribunal. And that's where I got my way. Otherwise, it's a very delicate situation, and anybody can come across it, but parties need to mature because at a stage, it does kill the morale to the followers. Because once the process is being declared a sham, then the followers just follow the candidate. And that's how you realize that a candidate can be able to decamp and join an independent party and still win because the followers are still with him. Okay. So it's a matter that parties should think how to handle and should be handled with a lot of care.
But perhaps on the sidelines, still with you, Gakue, because UDA has its work cut out for itself, at least in a couple of counties, and it will be quite contested. When you take a look at Kirinyaga, the entrance of Anne Waiguru, the governor, into the UDA party, and the die-hard Ruto stalwart, Girishi, who has been supporting Ruto for quite some time. That's just in Kirinyaga. Crossover to Nakuru, we have Kihika also angling for that particular seat. Governor Sang, who is also set to receive competition from the senator as well. Well, what's your take in what exactly UDA is doing in order to ensure these party primaries are free and fair? It's not your closeness to the party leader that matters. It's exactly who wins in that particular nomination process. What's UDA doing?
First and foremost, my clear advice to my boss, Honorable William Ruto, is first and foremost to desist completely to endorse anybody. This is not a time that he should be seen taking favor to anybody. If you want every single member to be your follower, then allow him an opportunity to fight for his battle. Don't be seen sidelining or leader supporting either of the candidates. And until after nomination, that's only when you get the nominated candidates, and that's when then you chip in. But during the process of nomination, the boss should desist completely to take part and or to endorse any candidate at all. In areas like those of volatile areas of Kirinyaga, Nakuru, and other areas, I think if they can be given democratic space, a democratic space that can give him free and fair nomination, then a candidate can be defeated fairly, can accept, can be able to accept the results. But if there is that feeling that one candidate is being favored, then from the beginning, then you start by rimping. And I think this is an area where parties must watch, because party loses their stronghold or their strength by the time of nomination. If we need Kirinyaga votes to the end, and the Kirinyaga broke, and Nakuru broke, and elsewhere, we must retain those blocks by giving those people free and fair nomination, and I am sure that the party is capable of that and can be able to do that. And I am sure that the Secretary General of the party is not is very smart. She's not very green in this particular politics, and they can handle this particular nomination fairly.
Okay, at times there's usually an impending fallout after party primaries, and that's usually the main source of concern. But at least according to the Daily Nation, those who fall out from the parties might be bad due to the timelines. Professor Umenya, I know you have a couple of inputs in regards to this. Just hold on to your thoughts. Allow us to take a short break. The bills must be paid in one way or the other. When we come back, we continue with the discussion on the democratic space, because you well know the litmus test of the democracy right now we enjoy as a country is some of these parties. And their strength is definitely that litmus test we're talking about. Let's take that short break. We'll be back with more on this particular conversation and more on the news making headlines. Stay with Morning Express.